Stani from Make Music Your Own and your host for Own Your Voice. First, before I say anything else, I just wanted to take this time to acknowledge this wonderful day today, June 19th. We are marking 155 years since the abolishment of slavery. And so great that this holiday gets more and more recognized every year. So I just wanted to take this moment for all of us to acknowledge it. It's so great. So today is episode 7 of Own Your Voice, and I have a fantastic guest, a dear friend from long time ago, incredible cellist, social media superstar, who has so much wisdom to share with us today. And this is Wendy Law, and I'll invite her right now in the studio and she'll share more about herself. Hi, Wendy.
Hey, Stani. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, and everyone feel free to say hi, where are you from, and anytime, any questions and comments, would love for you to share with us. So Wendy, welcome. Thanks so much for coming on Your Voice. Of course. Can you share a little bit about yourself, your background, your journey, and what you do now, just for those who might not know about you?
Okay, so I'm a cellist. I'm a musician, obviously, and I was born in Hong Kong, and I came to the States when I was 12, and I went to school in Boston, New England Conservatory, and then I moved to New York to do my master's in artist diploma at the Juilliard School, where I met Stani. That's how we met, and then we started actually becoming colleagues at the New York Philharmonic as teaching artists. And throughout my journey, well, actually, I started doing, since we're talking about YouTube, I'll talk a little bit about that. Many of you may not know, I mean, maybe many of you know now that I'm doing YouTube as a cellist, but before that, I was actually a YouTuber as a beauty vlogger, doing it just for fun for like 8 years. And then it became a business, and it was fun, and I started learning all about social media, and I created my own cosmetic line because of that. And then, yeah, and then also simultaneously, I've been performing, and I've been artist director of classical jam, an ensemble that's toured all over. We do a lot of educational work, interactive concerts. So that's pretty much my background.
That's so awesome. And I love how you've always, what I always admired about you is that you used all your talents and interests. Like I remember when I first, we worked together in the New York Philharmonic, and you mentioned about your makeup line. I was blown away. Again, there's something you clearly had passion for, and you decided to explore it and really dedicate time for that too. In addition to all your busy playing schedule, you decided to, because that was something that you felt like needed to be explored, and you really went for it. And
yeah, I just had fun.
Yeah, exactly. And on the way, clearly you learned and so much, and you built this huge audience as well there too, I assume.
Yeah, so I had, like I said, I had this YouTube channel that grew to be over 120,000 followers with like over 8 million total views, or maybe more actually, I don't even know, but like multiple viral videos. But it's about beauty, lifestyle, and health, fitness, all that stuff. And yeah, and I really stumbled upon it, you know, and I just realized the power of the internet and how you can harness it to connect with like literally anyone in the world, which is so powerful. And I really enjoy the idea that I could use it as a platform to also like inspire other people and connect with like-minded people, and then to make, you know, business out of it was even more fun, because for a while, you know, as my online presence started picking up, a lot of brands started reaching out to me and wanting to advertise on my channel. So it started becoming like a business. And then at some point I was like, well, why not like promote my own line? So I created the Diva, what is it called? DMQ Cosmetics. Stands for Diva Makeup Queen, which is my the name of my channel.
Yeah, I think I have one right here somewhere.
Oh, you do? Yeah, the palette. Yeah, exactly. It's meant to be inspirational, and yeah, and I mean, I did that for many years. I enjoyed it. It was fun, but then there's this like innate need to explore more. I still enjoy like lifestyle, makeup, beauty, all that stuff, but my heart is really in music making and sharing my gifts and my passion for music. And it actually took me so many years until really it just started about 9 months ago, honestly, on my, wasn't even 9 months, maybe even less, when I started focusing on my cello channel because my visual album came out. So I was like, well, I need a platform to promote it.
Yeah.
And so it took a lot of years for me to be courageous enough to share, like, you know, what I actually do, you know?
Yeah. Can I ask you, what do you think kept you from doing that?
Say that again?
Oh, sorry. What kept you from doing that for a while?
Oh, what kept me? Just fear. Because, like, you know, doing makeup, that's more like a hobby and a passion. But, you know, so even if I'm not like the perfect makeup artist, I'm like reviewing products and talking about it. I don't feel judged as much, but for me to put myself out there actually as a cellist, I was filled with fear that I would be criticized and people would like, I would just feel really vulnerable, you know? And it took that many years for me just to have the courage and be like, you know what? It is what it is. And I think what makes social media so appealing to people is authenticity and being completely real. So, you know, sometimes if, like, I do some of these videos where I practice live, you know, watch me practice on YouTube. So it's like, hey, if I'm out of tune, that's just part of the process. You know what I mean? Like, we're not always perfect all the time as musicians. We want to put our best self out there, obviously, in performance situations. But, you know, people really like seeing behind the scenes of like, what is it like to be a musician? Like, what is the practice process like? Like, oh, she's not like perfect. And I guess it's okay if I'm not perfect all the time either as a musician. So people like to identify with someone that they can relate to. And I think, you know, that's what makes YouTube, I mean, YouTube happens to be the platform that I'm most familiar with, but on any other social media platforms, I really think that people are looking for authenticity and relatability. So they want to find someone that they can, they look at you and they feel like you're their friend. And I think that's what makes a powerful YouTube channel, is when they feel like they're talking to their BFF. Even though, I mean, it is a two-way, it is a relationship, because part of my job as a YouTuber is I want to engage always, you know, replying to comments, asking questions, what kind of content do people want to see? So it's like you're building relationships all the time. So it's actually not so different from teaching artistry, you know, the thing that we're familiar with, you know, is about inquiry, asking the right questions, relating, finding out what people want, and creating that relationship.
Absolutely. And sorry about the not sure what's going. But you mentioned earlier that different brands started approaching you. Was that the moment you felt successful online on social media and YouTube? Or was there another moment when you felt like that was something you could monetize and turn into a business?
When I felt successful, I mean, here's the thing. I think that, like, when people looking at what it means to be successful on YouTube, they're looking at the numbers, right? They're like, oh, I've got 1 million hits on this video, or I've got so many comments, or so many views. But the thing is, to me, what defines success is what I just talked about, when you can relate to somebody and you're making a difference in people's lives. So for example, right now I have one video that has gone viral on my cello channel. It's almost at 1.5 million, you know. It's kind of like, yeah, it's like, again, it's kind of very much like a teaching artist video. I'm like, can you hear the difference between these three cellos? And then everybody who's like not even a musician is like, wait, I want to see if $1 million cello really sounds the same as the $5,000 cello. So like now all of a sudden you're engaging them and they have to listen. And what they don't realize is I just tricked them into listening to Bach Suite #1 3 times in a row. And some people don't even know what a cello is, so I just kind of tricked them. But going back to your, yeah, exactly. So going back to your question about what makes me feel successful, you know, it's not so much. I mean, yes, the numbers do tell you the level of success, but really is how are you impacting people? So, for example, I have this series right now. It's called the Cello Healing Series. So, you know, I created it obviously, and I really like became very engaged in doing the cello channel because of the pandemic. Because we're all at home. What are we gonna do? I was like, all right, let's go online and make videos and play music and engage. So that's what I chose to do. So when I created the healing series, you know, I really had the intentions like, what can I do as a musician? How can I, you know, make people feel just a little bit better, even if just for a few minutes, because there's just so much going on right now in the world, so much in terms of like racial inequality, the virus itself, you know, unemployment. I mean, there's so much going on, and it can be so overwhelming, and I just want to give in whatever ways I can. So when I created the healing series, when I read those comments and when people share with me that their lives have been impacted, affected, and even better just for a few minutes, and that they feel the healing, that makes me feel very good and successful. And the same when I was doing Diva Makeup Queen, my makeup channel, you know, I also made like inspirational videos, and I wanted people to be inspired and talked about self-love and stuff like that. And I know people like would write in and say that my videos have affected them. So yeah, I guess that's what makes me feel the most successful, when I know that I'm impacting somebody's life.
So good, so good. And I wonder people who are watching, they don't have much presence in our YouTube channel. What is some tips and strategies? You mentioned a lot of stuff, but what is, if somebody doesn't know where to start, what are some tips and strategies they can begin with to kind of build an audience and to kind of build a voice on social media, particularly on YouTube?
Yeah, well, I would say, first of all, the first question always is to find out, what are you most passionate about, right? So for me, it was makeup. And then now I'm really committed to cello. I mean, not that I wasn't, but now I'm even more so in music making and arts advocacy, because honestly, I see all my work online right now as arts advocacy. And the power of the internet is amazing, because like I said, you can reach literally anyone in the world, and also to people who may normally not have access to classical music or just music in general. And now we have this opportunity. It's a huge opportunity for all of us, especially as musicians, and to really think seriously, how can we share our passion authentically online? So that's one thing. And then the other thing is, you know, what kind of value are you bringing? Because let's be really, really brutally honest, nobody really cares about someone that plays a whole bunch of concertos and that you went to all these amazing fancy schools, you know, and you did won all these competitions. At the end of the day, people on YouTube, they don't really care. They care that you're going to make an impact, or you're going to transform their lives in some sort of way, even if it's small. They want to know that you're a transformer. So you have to ask, like, what are you passionate about, and what can you share and teach? How can you bring value? How can you relate to others? The people that are sitting on the other side of the screen, they want to know that you are speaking to them and that you care. You care about them. So it's not so different, even though it's like through the screen, but it's like people want to know that they are valued and that you care about what they think, what kind of music they listen to. So you have to really think in terms of your audience. Who are your audiences? Who are you trying to target? And how relatable, and how can you connect? And of course, a lot of us, as musicians, is like, a lot of us can teach. So you can also be creative about how you teach, and be unique, because as we were talking about, like how there's so many videos right now, on all the topics, especially right now because people have time to make videos. But, you know, in order to cut through, you kind of have to really speak authentically, and also, yeah, just that you have to bring something that's unique that maybe nobody else can bring. And honestly, we're all unique. So the point I'm trying to make is, don't try and copy somebody else's channel. People don't want the same person many times. They want what's uniquely yours. Yeah.
When you copy and undermine your beauty and uniqueness.
Exactly.
You have to offer that you're credit for. Copy somebody else. As good as you.
But having said that, though, you know, one of the ways is don't copy, but you can certainly learn from others. And you can look at other people's YouTube channels and what makes their channel successful. What kinds of videos do they attract the most views and engagement? So YouTube, okay, so here's the thing about YouTube. It's a business. YouTube is a business. So what they care about is that someone is staying online for as long as possible and that they're engaged. So the algorithm works in such a way so that the longer you're able to keep your audiences engaged. When I say engage, it means like writing comments, watching the video for a certain period of time, commenting, you know, sharing. Those are the metrics for engagement, and YouTube looks at that, and when it's like, when it has a lot of engagement, they're gonna promote it to others. So that's how videos go viral. So what you have to think also in terms of, from like more business side of things, it's like, how can you engage for as long as possible with your audience? So if you're boring as heck in your videos, people are going to click off. People have very short attention span. So you have to find ways to right away engage somebody, especially at the beginning of a video. You have to have a lot of energy. Obviously, you have to make sure that you have the proper lighting, equipment, and that's a whole different conversation. But you know, make sure your place looks decent, and you're relating, and then also how you put the title is also very important. Like title, description, tagging, all those things. It's like an art form. Because
but in a way, yeah, we think about social media promotion as something techy, something like unmusical, or in a way, the way you're describing it, and the way I really do believe it is, it's actually comes down to very human values. It's you connecting to other people, you finding what excites you. That takes something soul searching. And I know right now, maybe there are people who are thinking, "Oh, I'm boring. I couldn't come up with anything authentic." No, you're not. No one is boring. It's just a matter of finding what it is that excites you. Once you find that and share it with people, you are authentic, you are unique, and you have a voice that you just didn't give permission yourself to speak with.
Right. You're absolutely right. And actually, I would encourage people to do this exercise if you're just starting out on YouTube. Do a stream of consciousness and write down as many topics as you can that come to mind, like without filtering yourself. And because I think what happens is when people are starting out, they feel completely overwhelmed. They're like, oh my God, I don't have the right lighting. I don't have the equipment. I don't know what to make. I feel nervous. I don't know if I can speak well enough. Maybe it sounds bad. It's like all these thoughts come to you. And then people are going to judge me, like all that. And trust me, I've been there. At some point, you're like, I just don't care. You're like, I'm just going to put it out there. This is who I am. If you like it, great. If you don't, you know, move on. You know, at some point you're going to get there. But that's why it's important before you start and commit yourself to buying all this equipment, doing all this stuff, is to do a stream of consciousness and write down all the topics that you think might be interesting to you and also to your potential audience. You know, and then after you do that, take a look and see if there are like any specific themes that stand out. So, okay, so for example, I'm a cellist, right? So, but even being a cellist, there are many different ways for me to engage. So, for example, I've created multiple series of video. So it's not just me playing like Dvorak concerto every video. Like that's really boring. Nobody cares. So for musicians, you know, some topics may include like behind the scenes, behind the, well, maybe not right now because we don't have any concerts going on, but like even like, you know, do a video about like, what is it like to be a musician in the middle of pandemic? That's like a video that I plan on doing, like a day in the life of a musician. People will want to see that, you know, or like, what's your practice routine like? Definitely people want to know. And then talk about obviously specific musical topics or things that you can teach. And then you want to play, obviously. And you may also want to collaborate. I see a lot of collaborations going on, which is absolutely fantastic. And actually, the more you collaborate, the wider your audience is, you know. So you want to collaborate with as many people as you can. And that will bring more value to your channel. Absolutely. Anyway, so then after you do the stream of consciousness, if there are specific themes that stand out, maybe you can kind of group them together, you know, like some of the groupings that I told you in the vlogs, like I did a vlog on like how my instrument was destroyed while I was flying. Oh, wow. So I talked about stuff like that. And then kind of write down your top 5 video ideas that you're really passionate about, you think is going to go well with your audience, and you think the topic is interesting, and it goes with who you are, your uniqueness and your niche. So then my suggestion after that is to just make it. Don't wait until you get the proper equipment. Don't wait until you have the proper lighting. I would say I would say if someone were to ask me what makes someone successful on YouTube and actually on all social media, and you'll be surprised to know what it is. What do you think it is? Stani, let me ask you. What do you think is that number one thing that makes somebody successful on social media? Yeah, that's definitely one of them. But actually, the key and the secret that I'm letting you all know right now is consistency. Consistency. And I'll tell you why, because actually my cello channel is a perfect example. Because I started it I pretty much just really started putting content out there consistently starting last September when my visual album came out. So it was basically an album split into 12 parts, and when you stream these videos together, it tells a story. And it was all Latin music anyway, interesting, filmed in all over Europe and different exotic places. And it's actually a story about my love life. So that was the draw. Yeah. So I started doing that in September, and I was, Stani, you have no idea, I was so disappointed. Okay, because I was like, oh, I thought I know how this works. I've done YouTube for 8 years, even though I'm starting a brand new channel. I thought I could make videos go viral. I thought everybody's gonna watch it. I'm gonna get a lot of views. I didn't get any of that. I emailed it to everybody, shared it on social media. It was like 100 views, 200 views for the longest time. Now I know that like a couple hundred views may be really good for people, but like I had a vision of like many people seeing it. I spent a lot of time and investment and energy into creating this. So I really was hoping that I could share it, you know? And I was so disappointed, but I understood the idea that the success is being consistent even when you see nothing going on. You only get 2 views, 3 views, 5 views. But when I say consistency, it does not mean that you have to do YouTube every single day. It might mean you do 2 videos a month. But if that's your decision, you stick to 2 videos a month. If you decide to make 2 or 3 videos a week, and if that's your decision, you stick to it no matter what. You treat it like it's your job. You have to show up. You can't make your video when you feel like it. And then the next day when you don't feel like it, you don't make it. You have to treat it like you show up like it's your job. And then what happens is, as you keep making these videos, and at the beginning it might really suck. And that's why I tell people to just make it. It doesn't matter if it sucks, because the hardest part is just starting. And once you start, it might be really sucky for a while, but then it will give you feedback, right? Because you can say, oh, well, this video didn't go over at all. Like nobody clicked on it, nobody left a comment. And you can also look at the metrics in the algorithm to see like how long people are watching. If you see that nobody's watching, then you know it's not really working. So then you're like, all right, so I need to make this type of video. Oh, the camera's not so good in this one, or it's fuzzy, I'll make sure. So you get consistently better. So you practice. So one, it gives you an opportunity to practice. Two, you get better and better because you're practicing, just like music, you get better. And then at some point you will be like, oh, these are the kind of videos that really connect with my audience. And then all of a sudden, boom, something happens. You may get a viral video, and that's the most ideal situation. I was able to do it on my makeup channel, and I was able to replicate that on my cello channel using a series techniques. And when that happens, then all of a sudden, guess what? I get a lot of viewers, and now they're not just watching that comparison video. They're going to see my visual album, which is what I'm hoping them to do, and they are watching my other content. So and then you just have to keep going. So you cannot be discouraged. That's my biggest advice. Don't be discouraged if you only get 100 views. You just keep working on it every single week.
And we're also practicing and, working on the project on your Instagram.
Exactly.
Okay, how about the consistency? Do you think that's more to people or to the algorithms on YouTube?
Do it tailor more to the people or the algorithm?
Yes. Is the algorithm noticing the consistency, or do you think people notice the consistency?
Oh, well, that's a very good question. Actually, both. So, for example, if you can commit to making a video every Wednesday, you let your audience know. You're like, every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern time, I have a video. And you put it out and you engage, you tell people, then people are going to expect it. And they're going to come back Wednesday at 10. And they're going to look for your video. And also, exactly what you said, YouTube very much appreciates a consistency. So if they see that you're consistently putting out videos, then they would push your video out. More. So the thing is about subscribing, because it used to be subscription was the way to see success, right? Because if somebody subscribed to you, then you're going to get views, because supposedly they will go into their what do you call it, the subscription box, and they will see your video. But right now, YouTube has changed the algorithm, so their homepage is now recommended videos that they think that a person's most likely going to watch. So for example, if they've clicked on your video once, then YouTube says, oh, this person likes Stani's videos, for example, right? And then the next time the person opens up YouTube and the homepage, they're going to see Stani's videos again, even if they may not be subscribed to you. So if you consistently create content that this person likes, then YouTube is going to keep recommending you to that person. You're going to get more views, more likes, more shares, more engagement, more watch time, which is how much time someone stays on your video. So yeah, it's sort of like math a little bit.
Absolutely. And you have the video I spoke about, and it's in the link. The one that got 1.5 million views, was that result of that process where you kept tuning and refining what you were doing, and it just, or was it like kind of, were you surprised that it got so many views, or do you think it was because of everything leading up to that and everything you've been changing and doing?
Yeah, I mean, I knew that video would do well, but I didn't expect it to do this well. So I will tell you a little secret. I sometimes do look into, like I mentioned, I do look into other similar music channels and see what people are doing. And I also look at what videos are popular on their channels. So I have noticed that there are a lot of comparison videos, like on the flutes, like listen to me play a $100 Amazon flute and compare it to my gold, flute or something like that, And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like people like listening to it because it is kind of fascinating. It's like for someone, maybe it's more normal for all of us who are musicians to think that an instrument can cost $1 million, that there is like $1 million cello. But for someone who's not familiar with music at all, it's like it just like blows their minds. Like, how can an instrument be $1 million, and can it really sound that different from one that is like, I don't know, from Amazon, $150 or whatever, you know? So I kind of looked into some of those topics, and there hasn't been a cellist that made a video quite like that. So I found my niche. It hasn't been made about cello, but it's been made about flutes and piano and violin. So I was like, all right, let's give it a try. So then that's when I went to my friend Julie Reed, and this was right before the pandemic. And I was like, can I try some of your fancy cellos? And so I was like, all right, I'll just play Bach Suite three times.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, if I had known that this was going to go viral, I would have played better, because I was just sort of like that. I didn't like really like kind of like it just to try out the sound. Like, I wasn't really trying to play nicely. And my dad was like, you weren't really trying to play well at all, were you? I was like, no, it was really casual playing. And then now it's like at 1.5 almost.
Yeah.
So,
but that's, in a way, yes, you have a lot of views on YouTube channel, but in a way you're doing a huge service to classical music. As you said earlier in the beginning, you trick people in a way, if you want to use it. You got people to listen to Bach Suite 3 times, a piece that was written over 300 years ago, and you made it popular. You know, in a way we connected to where people are, we connected to what they like, and we introduced something that we are good at. We introduced what we know, classical music, and we got them to listen. They clearly love it. And now they know more about classical music than they did before they saw your video. So in a way, we're doing classical music the biggest service we could.
Right. And again,
people like, we know what they're going to watch, you know, we meet them where they are. And I think that's so smart and so brilliant for what you're doing.
Thank you. But I do want to stress the idea that I think that we as musicians and classical musicians, we got to stop being seen as an elitist art form, and that we're only playing for an elitist few people who can pay for tickets and go to concert halls. And so part of my mission on being on YouTube is more than just like, oh, look at me, and like I'm playing, I'm an influencer. Like, it's not really about that. I mean, a huge part of what I'm trying to do is actually arts advocacy and classical music advocacy, is to push classical music to be seen by as many people as possible and engage in a way that hasn't been done in the past. And I feel what has been in the past is like, oh, we're a high art form, we're classical music, and you know, we're like museum music, and if you don't get it, well, too bad for you. If you haven't had the education to get what we're doing, well, too bad for you, and you just don't get it, so bye, because we had all this training. At least that's the kind of vibe people are getting.
Absolutely.
It may not always be true, and nor our intention, so I don't want to speak for all of us, but as a whole, classical music unfortunately has that stigma where people feel like they cannot understand it and it's not relatable. Yeah. So my mission and my passion is to break the barrier, and I feel like that has been my work and your work too, Stani. Like, you know, our work as teaching artists, right, for so many years is about breaking that barrier so that people can connect to music in a way that is more than just excellence, right? Because I think that has been value for so long about like, oh, she went to Juilliard, so she must be good. And she won these competitions and she's good. It's high art form. It's like, I don't think at this point, and especially after everything that has happened during the pandemic, and then we're talking about racial equality, justice, all this stuff, we cannot be the same anymore. We cannot just expect people to come to concert hall and to get it. I don't even know when it's going to happen again with the concert hall. So we have to find a way as classical musicians to engage, to educate, to relate, to share, and to let people know that it's just music, and this happens to be the art form, and that we're not these stuck-up elitists that only care about playing for only a certain groups of people who have access, who are privileged. Mm-hmm. So that's really my mission. It's not that I'm trying to trick people. No. My mission is I'm just really hoping to use YouTube as my platform to share with as many people as possible, get people excited about music, do healing through music, educate, advocate, to share. And that's, at the end of the day, that's all I want to do as a musician anyway. And I'm sure for all of you who are watching, it's not about playing perfectly on the Dvorak cello concerto. It's just not about that anymore. Although I would still like to do that, play it perfectly one day, right? I mean, that's what we want to strive for. But it's about being relatable and being relevant, and that's really what we need to work on. And the thing is, what's exciting is that, like, I'm seeing a lot of that right now, and this is really an opportunity for us, for classical musicians, because people are not able to go to concert halls. Some of it is resuming, I hear, in Europe, but it's different. It looks different. It feels different. And this is an opportunity for us to make content online and to really engage and to really do what we're passionate about. So I think the more of us do it, the better. It's not competition. It's really not. And I think as classical musicians, you know, we can be very competitive. We're like, oh, there are only certain spots. Yeah. You know, especially growing up. I don't know how it is for you, Stani. Like, growing up for me, it was like, well, there's only like one yo-yo ma. It's like, you just have that one spot and you're like striving for that one spot, right? I think we can all coexist. We can have, there's so many of us and we all have different gifts and different things to give. And I think we should absolutely encourage each other, help each other out, support each other. And the more of us online as classical musicians, the better. Absolutely. Yeah. And more collaborations, and then more people will see it. You know, actually, the other day I got an email from somebody who said exactly this. He said, he's from Boston. I'm going to paraphrase it, but he said that I've been, Amazon delivery in the middle of interview. Should I go get it?
I'll see whatever is gonna.
Otherwise, they're going to keep buzzing. Okay, so sure. Here, Stani, you keep talking about why this is important.
This is a great, as I would say, the pandemic has been a great time for all of us as musicians to really get creative. How we can connect to what we love doing, and how can we bring what we do, classical music, how can we bring it to people who otherwise might not hear it? And in a way, Wendy's doing that brilliantly, and we could do this in our own way. And this is more than ever, especially when all the big venues and concert halls and orchestras are closed for a while. This is a huge chance for us to get creative, to really connect to what we love doing with the people we want to serve. And it's a challenge, but it's so worth taking. Any day, decide, as Wendy said, the few steps. Decide how often you're going to post a YouTube video. Don't think about the logistics. Just try it.
Just try.
Connect to what
and you know, Stani, thank you. Stani, you are doing great work. Like, you starting this series is great. It's so wonderful to, you know, see what other musicians are doing during this time. We just have to connect, and you're having these wonderful conversations. Thank you. You can just drop it off. Thank you. This is why this is live. When it's live,
it's authentic. I love that.
Yeah. But and I think there are so many people who are doing great work right now, which is awesome. And we should all just keep doing the work, putting ourselves out there. Yeah, it's an opportunity. I see it as an opportunity rather than like, oh my God, this is the end of classical music. I don't think it's the end. I don't know about live concert venues and how live concerts, how that's going to play out. Eventually, we'll be back to normal, but it might look and feel different. But in the meanwhile, this is an opportunity for us.
Absolutely. And in the meantime, I wanted to ask all viewers, think about what is something you've taken away from this interview as you're listening. What is something that was resonating with you and you think you can try and make it your own? Is it maybe starting a YouTube channel? Maybe is it being a little more vulnerable and posting live on Facebook, Instagram, just sharing something you're passionate about as a musician? And trying to connect with an audience, right? What is something that's resonating with you? You can either type in the comments now or later if you're watching this. But I wanted to go back to Wendy. You have some very exciting projects coming up. As always, you're such a big creator. But I know you have a terrific cello workshop coming up. Can you tell us more about your coming project?
Yeah, I'm really, really excited about this. And it was like super last minute, and just an inspired idea came to me, and to connect with some cellists that are actually, they're now new fans on my channel, right? So we are starting a cello mastery course next week. And it's 6 days, and each day we're going to discuss a different topic, like cello specific topic, and there's going to be a couple of live performances, and I have special guests that are coming on. Ani and Tahira are coming on, and so I want to bring other musicians and support them, but also spotlight them. And collaborations is all about collabs, and it's great because what's really exciting, because we are already at full capacity. It's sold out, the course. I have literally someone from every single continent except for Antarctica. So Africa, like South America, all these different countries, Costa Rica, Chile, someone from Europe, Germany, all over United States, Canada, Australia, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Kenya. I am so amazed. I am blown away. And this is what I mean, the power of the internet. Now all these people, then they're different ages and play at different levels. And now we're forming this community where we're just sharing the love of cello and just talk all things cello. And so, that's what I strive to do, just to inspire. Awesome. And I get inspired just like meeting these people, It's very exciting.
So great, and it comes back to the point, so yes, having an audience, building a YouTube channel and having a lot of followers, it's not just about the metrics and even like monetizing it in that one platform, as Wendy just showed us. Like once you create a course or something else that can be monetized, you have the audience that immediately will come and join you and will be happy to pay because they know you, they trust you, become their friend, as Wendy said.
Yeah, well, there are actually a few other ways that you can monetize just for the musicians that are watching, because I'm sure everybody is like, oh my gosh, we need more income, right? So obviously the YouTube check, especially when you have videos that do well, that gives you something. And then when you have fans, you can start promoting some of your merch, if you have merch or your CDs, your albums. The thing about fans, and a lot of people are like, oh, CDs is like nobody cares. Not really, because what people care about is you, the artist, you, the YouTuber, or whoever the personality is. They want to get more of you. So once you have developed that relationship, people want to buy your CD, they want to support you. Also, another suggestion is to start a Patreon account. So I don't know, Stani, if you're familiar with Patreon.
Yes, I am. I know you created your project on Patreon.
Yeah. So, you basically, people can donate or support you as little as $1 to however much you want every month to support your work as a content creator. So I have some supporters there. Obviously, live streaming concerts. And a lot of the pop stars right now, or pop singers or musicians, they have this thing called the tip jar. So if you're going to live stream on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, don't forget to set up your tip jar. You don't have to call it tip jar. Just say, hey, if you want to support me, or you can say something like, many of you, I know that some of you are asking me how you can support me. So here's my Venmo and PayPal information. Please feel free to donate as much as you like, and people, a lot of times they do support you because they're moved by your music and they want to support your work. And there's nothing wrong with that,
That's what it's about. We're giving a lot.
Exactly. So, I mean, what they say is true. As you give, you receive. That is very true, because when you're on the channel, the intention of why you're on the channel is very important. Because if it's about how I can be the next big star and how I can be the next YouTube personality and how everybody can see how great I am as a cellist, musician, violinist, or whatever you are, people are going to pick up on that. People pick up on energy. So if your intention is like, I'm here to share, I'm here to heal, I'm here to create a community, I'm here to share my gifts and to learn about my community, people are going to pick up on that, and they're going to support you when you're creating a community. So community, that word is also very important, because it's not about you. You might be the face of the community, but it's about, or the leader, but it's about you creating a space where people feel comfortable and they just want to be part of it. And if they want to be part of it, they want to support you, and they may support you in coming to your live streaming concerts. They may support you by being Patreon, or watch your videos, or a combination of different things. And honestly, this is how I'm surviving right now in the middle of pandemic, because if I was waiting for the unemployment check, woo, child, that has not shown up yet. So yeah, so I mean, and there are definitely opportunities out there, and don't think that we don't have to be poor. That's another like mental block for classical musicians. For musicians in general, like there's this like starving musician mentality. It's like we don't have to, because when you're sharing your gifts, you will be compensated for it. Sharing your passion. So just keep sharing online.
Absolutely, yes. Quentin, last thanks for sharing, because I find the whole aspect of consistency really interesting, and have noticed how important it definitely is. Absolutely, consistency. I've heard from any successful person online, including Wendy just now, just being regular with whether email, posting, social, it's crucial. Quentin asks, do you recommend trying to find a video topic that hasn't been done before, kind of finding a niche, or starting with something more common that has done well on YouTube in the past?
Right. So this is where you have to really experiment. You never know how well it does. Like I said, like the video that went viral, like I knew, because like that was a research topic, so I knew it would do well. But also don't forget, I combined two things that I knew would make it do well. So I didn't talk about that. So I knew the comparing instrument aspect would make it do well. Now, also, I did some Google research. What is the most searched song on the cello? Do you know what that is?
The Bach cello suite?
Bach Suite #1. So everybody's like, oh my God, the most beautiful song on cello, Bach Suite Prelude. Everybody's Googling that. So, for example, in my title, I have two things working for me, which I think is why it went viral. Bach Suite 1 that everybody's searching for, and now I play it 3 times on 3 different cellos comparing. So I would say, like, you know, obviously you need to have strategies. You need to do things that you know are going to be seen, but also don't be afraid to do things that you're passionate about, because you never know what lands. You never know. You know, there could be a video that no one has ever done, and you cannot research it because nobody has thought of it, but you're the first one, and then it might go viral. And sometimes, you know, even when videos don't go viral, it doesn't mean that it's not successful. It's just, you know, it's all it takes, honestly, is like one viral video for your channel to do pretty well. And if none of it goes viral, that's fine. You will still grow consistently.
Yes, again, yeah. And I know when we have to go through, we just have one more question from Instagram, from Ellen Brockman. She was asking, how long did it take you to build this audience, and how do you manage it? Because as you said, it's full-time work, like that.
You mean the cello audience?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just started September. So how long has that been? 9 months. That is 9 months, right?
Yeah.
But even in September, I was doing it like maybe once a week, but because at the beginning of pandemic, like in beginning of March, I did something pretty dramatic. I did a lockdown cello practice challenge.
Oh, really cool.
So I was like, all right, everybody, we don't know what we're doing. Like, we can't go outside. Let's just all get locked down and practice our cello. So I did, I think, a 21 days lockdown practice challenge. And every day I would give people a prompt on what their focus is on playing. So like one day is about notice your intonation. Next day was about like vibrato. Third day is your bow technique or whatever. So I think that may also have helped. It's a series of things. The thing about YouTube is not like you do one thing and then you're going to be very successful. It's a series of things, and you have to think about them all the time and tweak and tweak and tweak. And it is a full-time job if you really committed to it. And I had the time, you know, all my things were canceled. Yep. Everything in my life was canceled. So I was like, all right, so let's make a video every single day. Yeah. So at the beginning of the pandemic, I did the lockdown challenge for 21 days. And then I got really tired doing it. So then I was just like, okay, I will make sure that I post like 2 to 3 times a week, which is also still what I'm doing right now.
That's great. Yeah. And that comes back to what we talk about. This has been the perfect time to do, so you have no excuse not to do something if you want to. You have no excuse not to post, not to get out there and develop your voice as a musician, as an artist, a YouTuber. you have, especially that's something you're curious about, you have it in the back of your mind. What if I tried this? Oh, I want to say this and share this with people. This is the time. There's really no excuse.
Yeah, trial and error.
In terms of like other venues, yes, also as we mentioned, things are pretty busy online, but then your city and your voice is unique, so people want to resonate with that.
Yeah, like I said, trial and error, but like just try to think, because not everybody's gonna watch a YouTube video as a classical musician. So if you play your Tchaikovsky violin concerto that you recorded with so-and-so orchestra from 10 years ago, I don't know if anyone cares. Yeah. I have to be just brutally honest. Now, if, like, for example, I saw a cellist I thought was genius. I forget his name now, but he's like a young soloist from Europe. He made a video of him playing the Mario theme song on cello with crazy, like, variations, like jumping around, technical things. Now, that's something that's interesting. Then I or anyone would be like, wait, I know the Mario theme. But then he's still staying true to being a cellist and authentic without cheapening what he's doing. You know, he's making the Mario theme song into his own, like, technical challenge, almost like an etude, and it was so impressive with all the octaves and everything, you know. So you have to think about your audience. Who is your audience? Who are you targeting, and what would they be interested in?
And Quentin forgets 𝙗𝙤𝙥𝙮 is a cellist you're thinking.
What is it?
𝙗𝙤𝙥𝙮 is a cellist you're referring to. 𝙗𝙤𝙥𝙮.
Yeah, must be. I forget his name. I'm sorry. But anyway, there are a bunch of videos like that are very creative. And yeah, so a lot of people are already doing really, really good work and creative work.
Great. Thank you so much, Wendy. I think we should wrap it up. I know you have to go. It was so amazing to hear from you and to see how you've been navigating, and thanks for sharing some of your secrets and wisdom.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
If you have a second, feel free to post in the comments, Wendy. You can post more about your upcoming cello workshop. Also, your Patreon link would be great for people to see and contribute. And I encourage you to do that, please. And see all the incredible content that Wendy is putting out online. And we have, Maria. Hi, Maria. Enjoying this. Can you guys recommend a good microphone for recording via your phone or computer? I was going to ask that, Wendy, because... Okay,
I'll just talk really briefly. I have...
Thanks, Maria.
3 minutes. Yeah. Okay, so right now I'm using the Yeti. That's well, I just started using that for talking. Is really good. Almost all YouTubers use this, but specifically for live streaming, that's really good. But for me, when I record for the cello, I use the Zoom. Oh wait, I have it right here. I can show you. Not the video conference Zoom, but this Zoom.
Zoom. What's the version?
Yeah, it's pretty good actually. You know, it's pretty good. I obviously could upgrade. I'm sure if there's anyone that is a techie would be like, oh, it's all right. I mean, it's good enough for YouTube channel for now.
That's why I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, it's good enough for now, but at some point it would be nice to upgrade.
Great. And does that work on the phone? Because Maria was asking, would that work on a phone as well if you connect?
Oh, here's the third one. Forgot to show this one. This little guy's MV88 by Shure, SXURE. This is great for live streaming as well. If you're just using your phone to make your first video, which is perfectly fine, you just stick this guy into an iPhone. This is iPhone only, but I think they may have a version for was Android. So this guy is really good for traveling. So I'm, of course, like everybody else, hoping to travel again in the future. And if I go to some nice place, I want to record with my phone. And if I have this bad boy here, then I'll be good.
Great. Awesome. That's so helpful. That was exactly that was my question too. So
yeah, good question.
Thank you all for joining, for your comments, for being here with us. And thank you, Wendy, again. So again.
If you guys have any questions, you can find me on Instagram, and you can just DM me. My Instagram handle is cellist Wendy Law, and on YouTube, I'm just youtube.com/Wendy Law. And if you want to email me with any questions, is wendy@wendylaw.com.
Great. Hi, Annie. Annie.
Thank you so much for having me, Stani.
This is literally the longest interview we've done.
Oh, really? Because I kept chatting. I'm sorry, I'm so chatty.
No, that's why it's so great. Thanks so much, Wendy, and thank you, everyone. We'll see you next Friday with another guest we'll announce soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.